Okay, welcome to the Rybrook Planning Board meeting. Let us all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming here. My name is Rob Goodman. I'm chair of the Planning Board. My fellow board members also here are John Gerzan, Amy Schoen, Lenny Vaisman, Ed Teig. I think Scott Mendelson may be on his way, not sure. But anyway, that's what we have tonight. And in
Microphone.
Also in attendance is our liaison from the Board of Trustees, David Heiser, our village attorneys, Judson Siebert and Pam Venya, and our superintendent of public works, Michael Nowak. Our village planning consultant from Hardesty and Hanover is Sarah Brown. Our planning board secretary, who's not here but does everything behind the scene, is Tara Orlando. And I think our very first order of business, should we deal with the minutes or should we go into executive session immediately?
If you want to deal with approval of minutes.
Yeah, let's just get that out of the way. We have minutes from April 9. Does anyone have any comments, modifications to those minutes? Okay, can I have a motion and a second to adopt those minutes?
Moved.
Second.
Mr. Guzan.
Yes.
Ms. Schoen.
Yep.
Mr. Teague.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Chairman Goodman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now with respect to our first matter, 15 Lock Lane, it's been suggested that we go into executive session to discuss some issues. To Lock Lane, to the application now. So you give us the procedure.
Yes, it is adoption of a motion to go into executive session for purposes of obtaining advice of counsel.
Okay. Can I have a motion and a second?
Moved. I'd like to, just
Yeah.
before, please use your microphone. You cannot hear anybody if you're not here. I'm speaking, you really can't. Doesn't come across on TV.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. And-
Amy moved and John did the second.
And John is aye.
Mr. Grzan.
Aye.
You guys are fun. Ms. Schoen.
Yes.
Mr. Teague.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Chairman Goodman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, let's retire in the other room, colleagues.
All right. So, we'll be right out, guys, in a few minutes.
Don't wait for me.
No, no,
I'm serious. You know.
all right. Don't trip over this place.
Anyway.
Yeah, I moved in '89. Where? Lincoln Lane. Yeah. I came from Long Island. I met a girl from Scarsdale. Then Martinique. I ran into this very, very nice woman. Next door to the tennis court. I was right next door. So I lived there before they built Red Roof.
So did we.
So it's like a postcard.
Oh, congratulations. So you're tired. Are you helping us or work?
Yeah.
We moved to her job. Yes, there was no ride room. It was the unincorporated part of the town of Rockland.
The oldest is 9. So he is, he's going to sleep where he's going. It's 4 weeks.
Yeah, I was on Mohegan and then I moved to Pat.
We're a little trouble. Super excited.
I tried to live across the street, stumbled on a house across the street that was vacant. That was a nice price. Then I went to Beachbrook. I moved up the exits into Connecticut. I live in Stanford. My kids graduated high school, I said, I'm out of here.
It'll be good for beaches, but when you're
Yeah. I moved, brought 3 kids out, graduated from one, my son's 39. So I moved out of here at 22.
Our two daughters graduated.
Please call my move. And taxes go to
That's what
No, the taxes accelerated.
Yeah, they're doing a major renovation on the high school. It's a good house.
So what are you, if I could just piggyback on the water, because that actually is one of the other big issues.
I've had better experiences in Stanford. Not that I go there a lot. But just on minor stuff, or I have one of my clients who goes on wood.
Really,
She's a
the required.
PR.
Yes, I know, we talked about that.
Unless I'm around the corner in Stanford. And I, and they like it because they're doing the job and I work on it. It was very convenient to go in bed and be on the job site. Yeah.
Trees, a lot of trees, what counts as a tree, what doesn't. The background. We're gonna struggle. We used to color. Try turning. That's why you got to see it. The business. They always keep repatching. That's actually had trouble. Can tell people we should treat a lot of celebrations. This is
Yeah.
I kind of thought that would be first, because if you look at the entrance No, it's like Hillsdale, Lock Lane, that is.
Yeah.
We just switched to. Are you spending much time with sort of Well, I retired about 2.5 years ago. So I was active synagogue, not on the board, not nearly as active as I was before. So still trying to figure out what's time retired from what I was doing. Vote is very good. Having been really very compulsive, very focused on work.
They're gonna watch you in a minute.
Come back in. But he's not really doing much.
Yeah, why don't you do the executive session?
Tony, confessional is open for you now.
Lowering the bar.
I was reading those emails that I got from DC and FEMA. Emails from FEMA and DC today.
I know.
And I was gonna tell him, I said.
I got them this afternoon. I
Yeah,
read them
right.
this afternoon.
And when they said,
But
well,
they were only addressing a 50-year. They weren't even, first I was reading,
Because
they're
our-
talking about 25, and then finally in italics
because I
it
think
was
our
50.
code is 50 year. All right.
But of course, FEMA, they take responsibility only if they won't take the responsibility, which is wrong.
I apologize to the public. We'll be with you in just a couple of minutes. There's just an issue that we have to address relating to the first application.
And here I was hoping to get out early.
That's okay, there are no games tonight, so.
I have my own game.
I went after we had a session with the arbors, not the arbors, the green.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
before the applicant, Tony, came to us, the lawyers,
Mhm.
they went and they appeased the Doral Green, and one way of appeasing them was to pretty much giving them that
Right.
golf course.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Politics is incredible, isn't it?
No, because I said, it seems to me like the Doral Green has a more of authority what's going to be built there
Yeah.
than the village. And Chris said pretty much, except that we have the final say what shape and size.
Okay, yeah.
There was a motion made in executive session to close the executive session and return to regular meeting.
Okay,
Learn to do that.
so what will, so.
So we're back in regular
back-
meeting? Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the first application before us, 15 Lock Lane, and Mr. Joffrey. Okay, how we were going to proceed with this application is there are some issues, engineering-related issues, that I gather still need to be addressed by the parties in conjunction with our staff. And so I think my colleagues and I think we believe that probably the best thing to do would be to adjourn until next month, have you work out the details, and then we can wrap it up with a vote next month. And if there are issues that arise between now and then, we'll address them next month. But I think that may be the most efficient way of dealing with it. Then the matter continues to be under the jurisdiction of the planning board. If we need to consult further, we can. But I think that's the consensus decision we have on how to proceed.
I would just like to comment, I certainly appreciate your consideration and significant amount of work that's been done with your staff and consultants over the course of the last 2 months since we appeared before you. Given the lateness of some of the replies and memoranda that we received, we want to acknowledge that your staff and consultants have dropped everything to try to make this happen in a very short period of time, which we greatly appreciate.
Okay. And also, we appreciate the applicant's patience with all of this. We know it's been a while, but we want to do the right thing. We want to make sure that the project works, that there are not going to be problems down the road. So we'll keep the public hearing open through next month, and then hopefully we'll be able to wrap it up.
So you'll adjourn to a date certain this evening?
It'll be, what's the next date, July 9th?
Yes, it's July 9th.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks very much.
Okay, see you, gentlemen. Okay, our next matter and last matter is Dorchester Drive.
Very opposed to this application. Very. It changes the entire,
Okay, just as
anything in the.
an introduction to this application,
Could be said.
there was a sketch plan conference last month where the project in principle was presented. Since then, a formal application has been filed, and so this is the first session on that application. And before the board would be the decision to open a public hearing next month, at which point neighbors would be able to come and opine on the project. So today is really for the presentation, the detailed presentation of the project and the site plan. And so whenever you gentlemen are ready, we're ready for you.
Just trying to figure out the hookups.
Is it on?
I don't think they're on. There's something wrong.
I had to speak. Look, okay. I have to put it in my mouth.
No, they're not working well. The microphone, generally, they're not working well. Can you hear me clearly? Okay. No, I didn't. It's on I don't have a problem being heard ever, but you cannot if you're listening at home. You can't hear one single thing that's happening. Or I can't. I'll put it that
Well,
way.
you could show, you know what?
Yeah, I can show the still one.
Just, yeah, exactly. Show the pictures, but we'll get through to that. Good evening, Chairman Goodman, members of the board. For the record, my name's Chris Scelfo, owner and project manager. On behalf of the owners, Jason and Angela Rain, we respectfully submitted the revised application materials in connection with the proposed lot merger and associated residential site improvements at 19 and 23 Dorchester Drive. We would like to thank the planning board, village staff, consultants, and the residents for their review and comments provided during the prior meeting last month. The applicant, Jason Rain, and Steve Anderson of Gabriel Sinor PC, and yours truly, carefully considered the concerns raised and has worked diligently with the village staff to further refine the proposal and address those comments through additional engineering analysis, design modifications, and expanded supporting documentation. The revised submission includes updated site plans, additional stormwater calculations, revised drainage designs, and architectural plans for the proposed pool house structure. Particular attention has been given to concerns related to stormwater management, site character, visual impacts, and the relationship of the proposed improvements to the surrounding properties. As part of these revisions, substantial additional stormwater mitigation measures have been incorporated into the design, intended to capture and retain runoff generated by the proposed improvements. These revisions further strengthen the project's ability to manage stormwater entirely on-site and minimize impacts to neighboring properties and public infrastructure. The proposed action continues to involve the merger of two existing residential parcels and the construction of a tennis court, pool house, and associated site work. The project remains consistent with applicable zoning requirements and continues to maintain the low-density residential character of the surrounding neighborhood. Based upon updated engineering review and supporting documentation, the property does not contain wetlands, water courses, or other regulated environmental features and remains outside of designated flood hazard areas. Furthermore, the proposed improvements are not anticipated to generate any significant increase in traffic, public infrastructure demand, or environmental impacts. As reflected within the submitted short environmental assessment form and supporting engineering documents, the proposed actions remains limited in scale and incorporates extensive design measures intended to minimize potential impacts while responding to the feedback received during the review process. We appreciate the board's continued consideration of this application and look forward to continuing to work with the planning board, village staff, and consultants throughout this process.
Okay, I have a,
As you can see up on the monitor, the proposed site plan, tennis court on the far left, which we placed as far off the street, leaving a 15-foot setback in the rear and a 15-foot side yard setback. Where the zoning requires us 6, we pulled it off the neighboring properties. The pool house, which is between the existing pool and the tennis court, also 15-foot rear yard setback on that, and we are 150 plus feet off the street. The tennis court is 65 to the property line, 75 from the curb. Tree plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have this is the existing home of Mr. Rain. This is the existing property line, which have now, it's one lot. We have arborvitae's along the property line, street frontage, and from front to back along the property line. And we have trees along the backside, which continue across the entire rear property. And also we have trees running across the front to camouflage the tennis court. Species, we had submitted a tree schedule. There was one tree and two trees in question, a crimson king, which we've now deleted and replaced with a red maple. And there was a question about a invasive tree that I would need to investigate further as to whether we can use a male species, which would hopefully be approved. But we can, we can further investigate and come back with a different tree that would be acceptable.
Yeah. I actually have a question. Since you were kind enough to provide us sort of a sketch plan last month, and we had some comments from neighbors, would you be able to tell us what changes you made in the plan in response to the meeting last time and the neighbors' comments?
Yeah. Well, the comments made last meeting were, number one, was there going to be any night lighting, which we had said that we would not be doing any lighting at all. There was also a question about sound. We're proposing a sound deadening material on the fence on the left side, not the entire court, because one is the front, which would be, again, 150 feet off the street. We're looking to protect the neighbor on the left and the rear.
Right. I think, Mike, you may have had some input on it. I don't know whether we've done any research on. I would provide the specifications for that sort of sound attenuation. I don't know what you would call it.
I can't see, Mike, is there a adapter here for USB-C?
Should be.
Because right now I'm working off of
Yeah.
Steve's.
It would be good to get some, I think, input from the staff on that.
Right here on this side.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to get, I think, some input from our staff on the nature of the sound dampening facility. I guess you'd call it. Is it a shield? What is it called really? That's what it is?
Yeah, so we're still researching a few. There's a lot of products out there, some that are going to have a better effect.
Right.
There's some cheap stuff. Windscreens aren't going to do anything. That side of the house, that side of the tennis court where we have the arborvitae's, obviously are going to have some buffer to it. But right now, that's what we're proposing. On the left side, let me see if I can get you.
Just for clarification, though, the basketball court is 75 feet from the road, right? And the
No.
tennis court itself
Yeah.
is 150.
So the front edge So from here, where the fence is here,
Yep.
that would be 75 feet off the street.
Actually 74.
Correct, so the board would have to think about, does the board want that netting along that side?
Right, whether-
So the
right,
netting
right.
would be along this left side, the left side, and the rear. Not
Right.
here or here.
Right,
Because again, this is the main portion of Mr. Rain's rear property line.
Right side is the house side.
Right, so from that fence to where his property line ends is, I believe, 230 feet to the neighbor to the right.
all right. I just don't know myself whether or not there's better attenuation with it being all around. You know, what the marginal benefits or negatives would be. Obviously, you know, the applicant doesn't want that on his, you know, side of the property. I can understand
Let me
that.
see if I can
but-
get you the picture of the rear property. So right now, this picture is showing, this is where the tennis court would be. So this is the existing property line before it becomes one lot.
Right.
So we have 100 feet from the fence to the property line. So the tennis court edge on the right side would be approximately here.
Right,
So this entire rear is arborvitae green giants, which are 16 feet tall. So this is it's a large buffer existing, which is, you know, obviously going to help, but that's on the neighboring property.
right.
So along this rear property line, that's where we're proposing new deciduous trees to be placed as well. So if we have that sound screen along the back and the left side, again, that's protecting both the rear and the left neighboring property.
As a tennis player and being around tennis courts a fair amount, I'm not terribly sure that netting is going to do much to dull sound. You can still hear the batting of the rackets with today's rackets,
Yeah.
with the balls, nor who is going to be responsible for that number of arborvitae? What happens if who's going to take responsibility for the upkeep of that?
The owner. I mean, we're going to be doing irrigation.
No, I understand it, but it's changing the total complexion of the.
Arborvitae's are on the left side of the property line, the rear it will not. The entire rear from left to right, both lots will be deciduous trees. Arborvitae's are on the far left property line from rear to street, and then across the front, only half the property, and then heading back towards the, I got it here. These are arborvitae's here, from the rear property line all the way to the front. Along
Yeah.
the front here to camouflage the tennis court, and then from the center of the property back to his fence line, which is here.
Those are green giants or emerald greens?
That's an issue.
Emerald greens.
Yeah,
So
sure.
So-
the problem with that is they don't get that tall.
Correct.
And it's
yeah.
and the street's 8 feet below where the tennis court's going to be.
Right now, yeah, elevation-wise from the
Yeah.
street, that was a discussion I had with Jason. Are we able to discuss with Angela about possibly changing those?
Mike? Pardon me, Chris. I did not get a chance to look at the zoning compliance. A 10-foot high fence, would that not require a zoning
Yes,
variance?
it would require variance.
That's what I thought,
yeah.
okay.
Yes,
There's
the
several-
building department issued issued a letter this afternoon to the applicant on that, and so that's gotta go to zoning.
Okay.
One question just about the planting. In the back left corner, are you planting trees on the neighbor's property?
No.
Okay, because those are shown as new trees in the back
Oh,
left.
those are existing.
They're existing.
Okay, because they're same as all the other trees, so it looks
Those are
like,
existing
looks like
ones.
you're planting
That were in
new
my
trees.
picture, right.
Okay.
The picture that I showed, you weren't, because it was, I showed the trees, there's 16-foot green giants existing on the neighboring property.
Okay, just change the symbol then. You know, 'cause that looks like you're
Yeah.
planting new trees
Yeah.
on the adjacent property.
Yeah, probably best for us to just take them off.
I understand.
Right, but yeah, that's the 16-foot tall, green, green giants. Yeah, and yes, we know we would need to go to the zoning board for the 10-foot fence. I do know of several tennis courts in Rybrook that have 10-foot fences, so I'm assuming they probably were granted
Not in
those.
this area.
Or they just, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so obviously we know we would need to go get a variance.
Right, well,
And if,
is that, should we refer that to the zoning board today?
The board can. We don't have a written resolution, but it's a standard stock resolution that you'd make a motion, as you
I mean, I
typically
think that
do.
would make sense. That's how they're going to get to the zoning board.
Correct, and we just received the zoning determination today, which indicated the fence height. So my recommendation would be, go ahead, refer to the ZBA, and let them begin to look at this.
Right.
But the other option is if ZBA doesn't go along and if they ask the alternative would be to have a vegetative buffer zone,
Yeah.
which is much wider.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a setbacks you have there, but I think that was one of the things that I was saying at the last meeting. One row of arborvitaes, it may look nice aesthetically, but it's not going to do
Not
much
at all.
noise-wise.
No, that's right.
If you have a multiple planting intervened, I think that may work so much better. So it's something in case if the zoning board goes along with the fence, then I'm sure you can find the material that would be 10 foot high, something like on the highways where they put this material which is basically sound absorbent. But in case zoning board doesn't go along with that, then you may have to go with the wider buffer.
Yeah,
Correct, which I think it would make sense to get this in front of the ZBA sooner rather than later.
It's up to the
Yeah.
chairman. We can.
yeah, I would do it. I would do it if, if we're moving forward with the application with a public hearing next month, we might as well know what the ZBA has to say about it.
Yeah, we can't do a public hearing next month because the application for zoning is the month before, so they would have to be going onto the following month's ZBA.
Right,
So I'm looking at August.
all right. Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, nonetheless, I think it makes
Yeah, I
sense
mean,
from
I
an
think we ha- I
efficiency
think we have
standpoint to
to
go
do
ahead
it, so-
and make the referral.
Yeah. Exactly.
Is there anything else on that zoning compliance that's in variance so that we do all
Exactly.
everything with one shot?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because
So-
I did not get a chance to review it.
Yeah,
I don't-
so while the resolution isn't drafted, John, typically the standard language we use in the resolution will specify the specific variance that's been identified, and we have some additional language, any other
Okay.
nonconformities that may be identified by building. Yeah.
Thanks, Joseph. Thank you.
All right, so we'll do that before we close. Sarah, in terms of sound attenuation and vegetation, what's your sort of assessment on what the applicant can do to sort of maximize, the prospect of mitigating sound from the property using
So-
landscaping?
Yeah, we did look at the landscaping, and I do agree with the comment. That's why we asked for the sound attenuation specifications of the fence and the Acousta block or whatever's going to be used, so we could assess that, because more than likely, columnar deciduous trees in the rear and a single row of arborvitae will not be enough to provide sound attenuation, but we need to know what's being proposed around the court, so then we can evaluate the landscaping
And-
based on that.
And I would say an issue that I have is if we're using materials around the court, I assume the ZBA is going to go along with a fence, otherwise you're going to have tennis balls hitting neighbor's yard. I mean, you got to have if you're going to have a tennis court, you got to have a fence.
Absolutely.
But if you are only going to put the sound attenuating materials around, let's say, half of the court, are you really getting the benefit of the mitigation, or do you have to put it around the whole court?
Right,
To get that I don't know the answer to, but that's a question I would like answered.
Right, and we're not going to know until they actually propose the material and we can see what height fence they have around the
Right.
Now,
court.
to my knowledge, we don't have anything in our code in terms of the DBA that the applicant will have to meet. I know on the generator, we may have something, but
We have a noise ordinance.
for, in general, not, or just for the, I know we have one when we use the siding of the
With
generator.
regards to generators, obviously, that is a standard data, because all generators have a rating for DBH. I'm sorry, DBA,
Yeah.
for sound. You know, tennis court's a little more subjective. It's a harder ball, softer ball, harder surface or soft. There's a lot of variables. An engine's an engine. So we
No.
do have noise ordinance, though, for noise between certain hours on certain days, but it's more towards construction equipment. It's more towards highway work. It's more towards that kind of stuff.
That's what
Music.
That's my feeling that,
So there's other things in there.
Sport court, it's very difficult to have the same noise ordinance like you will have an emergency generator. It's just,
Yeah.
an emergency generator would be so much louder, so I think would be almost unfair to have them, to hold them to that requirement.
But it's a different kind of noise. You can't
Yeah.
compare the sound of a tennis ball going back and forth to a generator going all the time. I don't think you can make a comparison with that.
No, that's my point, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to be something subjective.
I would say the start would be to provide us information on the materials that you would use, the sound attenuating materials you would use. And I would say, even what the surface of the court is going to be, because different surfaces are going to have, different rebound noises and things like that. presumably.
It's a hard court,
It's a hard, right.
no
Eh,
different than what's in Pine Ridge Park,
It's all, you have to be hard court, you cannot maintain
No
anything
grass
else.
court?
It's impossible to maintain that. Oh, clay,
Yeah, yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's Jason Ryan. Thank you, everybody, for,
You have to speak into the mic.
Yeah.
thank you. It's Jason Ryan. It's, appreciate, owner of 19 and 23 Dorchester. Appreciate everybody's continued conversation around this. We tried, I know Chris was saying this, but tried to the best of our ability to align with what the town requires. In addition to some of the comments from neighbors in particular, which I think were threefold, is water, which is a big thing, which is engineering. It's outside my specialty. Aesthetics, which is within, call it my wife's specialty, but the goal is to make something look appealing to the neighborhood, recognizing you're removing a house on a lot, so it changes the complexion a little bit, obviously. And the third was, noise, interaction with the neighbors. And that we took those, I'm sure there's a couple others. When we thought about the back part and our neighbors, the goal is to find ways to provide multiple buffers, so you're not relying on a single aspect of the structure or the landscaping, et cetera, to support that buffer. In the back, we're lucky enough, our neighbors in the back have large arborvitaes that we don't control, recognize that, but that is a buffer on their land. The next piece, which maybe we omitted, but we are going to put a fence. So that brown fence that you saw, which divided our lot with Edith's lot, with 23 Dorchester at the time, that fence is going to be swung to the back. So there's going to be a uniform fence. Granted, we've got height issues because it's only whatever the 6 feet is, but so you've got neighboring arborvitaes, fence, deciduous trees as a layer, and then we're 15 feet, as Chris mentioned, off the base, and then another fence, which is the tennis fence, which 10 feet, I don't think anybody wants tennis balls in their backyard, so agree with that. It'll be 10 feet, and then the buffering, sound buffering, which, and so you inherently have 5 layers to the back before you make it to the neighbor's home.
So Mr. Rain, your court fence would not be on the property line?
The
The 10-foot fence, that would be-
so it's a separate fence.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you can put,
The 10-foot tall fence?
It would be on your inside?
that's
on inside.
15
It's
feet
inside,
Okay.
right.
inside. So I'm thinking about a layered cake here for a second. It's neighbors arborvitae's, brown 6-foot fence that is, that is impermeable, right? It's the PVC fence.
Yeah.
And then a layer of deciduous trees that grow up and
Yeah.
have scale to them. So it's providing the buffer that aligns with the legacy arborvitae's and the neighbor, and then another 10-foot fence. And so the bridge from property line, which is the 6-foot fence, to the 10-foot fence, 15 feet, but that includes a fence, deciduous trees, and the 10-foot fence with the, and then similarly on the neighboring side, to the left, when you look at the drawings, you've
That's
got,
not the case. They
you've
need
got
to
the
go to
neighbors, the neighbor's foliage, a fence. That fence, if you
not on the
walk, the
property line.
portion of that fence actually has, it's not all chain link, right? Part of it has some buffering as well that they've put in. And then we put the arborvitae's, and then 15 feet off, we have the 10-foot fence and the buffering. So we're creating 4 layers of buffer on the back, 4 layer of buffers on the side before you get, and these are additions.
Three on the left side.
Well, not, that are ours, but there's a buffer that's created that the neighbors inherently have already. So if we're talking kind of layers to house,
Be
behind
like
us on the
5.
side, it's substantial. It's 4 to 5 depending on where we're looking. And so we tried to take that into account. And then on the front, because of aesthetics, we had submitted a path without that buffering on the 10-foot, meaning the sound barrier. We're open, obviously, to any recommendation. The neighbors are going to see a portion of that, but what we presented here is the 10-foot fence in the front, which is very deep to the front of the lot and to the street. We're putting up a layer of deciduous trees again that helps with the aesthetics to the road and the sound barrier to the road. And then you have the gap, which is the grass, along with a couple trees that we're planting, which are large trees that will grow, and then the arborvitae's that also will grow in the front. And so what we've tried to do around every angle of the lot is create these layers that hopefully create some sound and aesthetic layers relative to the neighbors. And that was helpful context from our neighbors, to be honest, and from you all when we last spoke. So we've taken that into consideration. Obviously, can provide additional details on some of the dynamics around what that incremental
Mike,
fencing provides.
excuse me, sir. Did Steve conclude that they have to go to the zoning board for the 10-foot fence? Because if it's
He
not on
issued a
the
notice
property line,
this
and
afternoon.
if it's within a setback,
It doesn't matter. Our code only says a 6-foot fence is,
Right,
is
that's true.
a 4-foot fence is allowed in the front yard and only a 6-foot in the rear yard. This is a fence in the rear yard.
That's right.
even
A
though it's not
fence.
on the, usually when you talk about fence, you mean the
it's-
property line.
Code does not distinguish it. Code only distinguishes a fence, not where it is.
Okay, I give up.
Here you go.
I lose that argument.
There's just one point also regarding, assuming we get the approval for the 10-foot fence. If you think about a 2-story house that's present at 50 feet off the street versus a 10-foot fence that is 75 feet and is black chain link that basically almost disappears. It's not a visual impact on anybody, be it at the street or the neighbor across the street. If you think about the distance from where that fence is to the neighbor across the street, you're at 250 plus feet. So a black chain link fence at that distance almost disappears. Putting a sound attenuator on the face of that makes it more obvious. And I think that the sound travel from that point of the tennis court to the neighbor 200 plus feet
Yeah.
across the street. That's why we're more concerned about the immediate neighbor right next door.
No, this is more of a really sort of an engineering question, really, because I don't know what these materials do, what their physics is, and whether or not, I mean, with all the buffers that are, involved in the project, whether or not the amount of attenuation that you would be able to achieve by having the barrier on, let's say, half of the that may be sufficient.
Right.
But I don't know, I don't know enough about those materials to know for sure. And it obviously doesn't make any sense to do it if you're not really getting any marginal benefit from it. And so, that would be something that, you
Well,
and
I know
our people would.
firsthand about tennis courts next door to my house, because I lived at Mohegan Lane, right next door to the tennis court, and I lived there for 8 years. And I can't think of any one time I was sitting in my backyard going like, no, those tennis guys, I hate tennis. Never had an issue with it. And
Oh, it was an outdoor court?
the Pine Ridge Park,
Pine Ridge Park,
my
right.
house was right next door.
I see, I see,
Number
okay.
15, so I never had an issue back when I lived there, where, again, the sound deadening plus the layer of trees and the fence
Right.
should not be a problem.
Are the arborvitae's in the front? I think there's 11 on your site plan, 11 or 12, right? But that's not going to cover, or is that,
Right.
or there's going to
I
be
think
more?
there's a total of 40, but directly in the front.
Right, but 12 is only going to cover 36 to 40 feet, right? And it's shown as 60 feet, 70 feet, right? If you go from,
How many, yeah, they're about,
it looks like it's 11 or 12 on the front.
11?
Right, and the court's 50, 60, 70 feet, so it's not going to,
That's roughly 100 feet across. the front.
right, so
Right.
11's only going to cover, they're going to, right, they get to 3 to 4 feet wide.
Right, as you mentioned before, those things would have to probably wind up being close to 15, 20 feet before they do it. We're
Yeah.
not really doing it for the camouflaging of the tennis court, because the trees, the deciduous trees closer to the tennis court are basically our camouflage and sound buffering. The arborvitae's are more or less a border to designate the property.
These deciduous, I don't know the deciduous trees, how big they get, but it's gonna, I think the people in the neighborhood will be upset if they see it from the street, right? So as long as it's not seen from the street, I
Right.
think then it's fine. So if you're saying all this tree coverage and if,
I
There-
think that based on we have the tennis court, is the 60-foot fencing across the front.
okay,
So, 60 feet is here. So the amount of trees that we have across here, I think there was 6. Yeah, those will wind up growing to, that's why I went with the columnar trees, because we want them to grow more upright as opposed to wide.
okay.
Because we have to plant them so tight to each other, we don't want them in a matter of 5 years growing into each other.
What type of deciduous trees do you have in mind?
My tree schedule, we have, these were spelled out as sugar maple. Columnar sugar maple, that's along, the front. And at this point, being that the Princeton Century columnar were rejected, probably be the same on the backside as well. But we'll explore, some other, we'd like to have a variety as opposed to the same tree throughout. So that, at this point, we'd have to make another selection.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
gonna be acceptable.
work with Sarah.
Yeah,
She
'cause
does
I work,
everything about this,
I
so,
was working off of
Yeah.
a tree list.
Right.
That was online.
right.
The
But
ginkgo biloba
But your
was-
point about using trees that are not going to grow into one another and
Right.
be a mess in like 10 years is a valid one. We've seen what happens
Right.
if you plant them too close together, depending on the
Because we have a
type you
total
use.
of 20, I believe it was 21 trees in total. There was, we were wondering whether there was a chance that we can donate possibly 5 towards the fund, so that we don't have to group them so close together, give them a little more room, room to grow. So that's something, I guess, to discuss with.
Yeah, yeah, work with our staff on it, because they would be able
Because right
to
now, we
tell
have
you.
them like spaced at like 12 feet
Right,
apart, and one tree alone will spread to 12 feet,
right,
and that's going with a column, cylindrical tree that
Yeah.
grows upward. So in a matter of 5, 8 years, they grow into each other.
yeah. Sarah,
Opposed to having
Sarah, have you looked at their most recent sort of landscaping plan with the
Yeah.
trees and the spacing and things like that? What do you think?
We didn't specifically look at the spacing yet, because we're waiting to see what the sound attenuation entails and how much that blocks, and then we can
Right.
give a better idea of number of plantains, how close. Obviously, we don't want to run into a situation where they're planted too close together,
Right,
but it could
yeah.
be varying heights and varying species, not in straight lines,
Yeah, yeah.
planted variably. So
I mean,
that sound attenuation is very critical because we need to see what that's actually blocking so
Exactly.
we can evaluate the size of the trees at planting that we're going to need.
Right.
Because if there are blocking sound, they can't be small trees.
Right. So that I think will help move things forward, because of the items that were mentioned, I think 3 of them have been pretty much covered. But the sound is a really tricky one because we don't really have any standards for that. So we do the best we can. But whatever sound attenuation materials you're planning on using, let's see if we can get them, at least understood as to what they will actually do, and apparently that will flow into other decisions that can be made that could be helpful as to what the nature of the landscaping would be.
Spec sheet to be reviewed as to,
Yeah, how would we want to evaluate the sound attenuation materials? They'll give you specs, how.
At a minimum, yeah, we need to see specs, how much sound it blocks at distances, all of the specifications
Okay.
that it comes with.
The
And then
manufacturer has all that.
Just
stuff.
please make sure that all of the plantings that are proposed are included in the plant schedule as well, with the size at planting, because the arborvitaes weren't included in the schedule, so we weren't sure
Right.
what they were.
Yeah, okay.
we could do that,
I-
sure.
Yeah,
We'll update the landscape plan.
yeah. I mean, at least, my goal, I think our collective goal is to try to do as much as possible so that by the next meeting, we're one step forward. You're going to be dealing with the zoning board, but in August, a lot of these issues are going to be resolved. We'll have the public hearing. Whatever issues come up, do not hesitate about going to our staff to help address them before you come to a meeting.
Now, you can have a tennis game and a basketball game at the same time, correct? Cannot.
Cannot.
That should help in terms of noise, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have the resolution referring the matter to the ZBA, so why don't we do that?
Correct. So the resolution would recite that the application's been made, that it'll have specifics as to the property, zoning district, et cetera. Will indicate the board's jurisdiction as the approval authority for the site plan application. There will be a classification as type 2 by the board, SECRA. We'll make reference to the building inspector's notice of disapproval, which was issued today. We just need to fill out the specifics on that you've looked at that, and that you believe that an area variance will be required, certainly for the fence and for any other nonconformities that may be identified by the building inspector. And then there is a resolution or a formal referral to the ZBA under Village Code, Section 17912.
Okay, if everyone agrees with that in principle, we can vote on it, and then you can circulate to me the resolution.
Correct. It's a fairly pro forma
Yeah.
resolution, but we'll just fill in the
Right.
specifics. Yeah.
Got it. So can I have a motion in a second to adopt the resolution?
Second.
Aye.
Mr. Grzan said aye.
Yeah.
Ms. Schoen?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Teague?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Weissman?
Yes.
Yes. Chairman Goodman?
Yes.
You guys are
Chris, if I may,
Go ahead.
we are still open, right?
Oh, yeah.
For business, yeah?
We haven't closed, we
The-
never closed for
The
business.
24 recharger units that are by at the end of the tennis court, those are new units just for the tennis court, correct?
I'm sorry?
the infiltrators.
Infiltrators, yes. They are just for the impervious surface being created by the tennis court.
Well, I'll explain. Steve Anderson from Gabriel Lease.
Hi, Mr. Anderson, how are you?
Alright, so that group of rechargers takes care of the tennis court and the driveway. There'll be a trench drain down in the driveway, and it will take care of that, and also
Which driveway?
the existing house.
The one that's been demolished?
No.
Oh,
right
okay.
side, right. Originally, there was a trench drain there years ago, but that needs to be, we have to take care of all impervious surface on the site. And not only that, besides the tennis court, there's gonna be the synthetic turf around the court. So we're taking into account for that too. Mike has reviewed it. We did have a little discussion on the storm. I checked the numbers, and it's,
So how you capture the water from the tennis court to go into the rechargers?
it's essentially a slot drain, or what we call a,
I got you.
a speedy
Okay.
drain.
And then the overflow you are directing to a drain on the street in the corner?
No, we're taking it all. In fact, we might lower the Coltex a half a foot, I figure, and put.
Because
a
right now you
trench-
show a 6-inch line.
Yeah, it goes in the new, there's gonna be a new trench drain to pick up all the water that comes down the driveway.
Okay.
And we'll take it to that system, which will be in the spot where the old house was. So we've done extensive perk tests too, all in between the existing house and the pool, all along that section. So the system is designed for that perk rate, and and like I said, it's, let's look at it this way. It's a case where it takes all the rainwater from a 25-year storm, and it will fill up and, infiltrate into the ground. It's not like other municipalities that say, oh, well, it was grass, and you only need to take care of the extra inch.
Right.
But now it's just the full-blown 25-year storm. So.
Is the 25-year storm
not
called
enough.
by our code?
Yes.
Is that in our code, 25-year storm?
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, too low.
It's not enough.
Oh, no, it's a code, it's a code.
A 25-year storm is a rainfall of 6.5 inches in 24 hours.
I know.
So
I,
a 50-year storm is, I think, 9.7.
No. If you look at the Westchester, southern Westchester, 50-year-old storm
That's right.
is about 7 inches in the 24 hours. 100-year storm is between 8 and 9 inches.
Correct,
So
but we follow the
25-year
guidelines
storm
from
is
DEC.
done in a 4 or 5 feet.
I understand, but
Inches.
the design manual from New York State has set
Okay.
numbers that we have to follow.
All right. How do you access the court? From where? I didn't see a gate. How you go into the court?
Yeah, it'll be from the main property side.
Okay, will not be from the street. You gotta go through Mr. Rain's house. That's great.
Basically,
So,
smack in the middle, right here.
so nobody can go from the street and play.
10 foot on the
Okay.
back, left side
All right,
front,
great.
And we turn about 7 feet on the right side, and then we're dropping the bottom, right? It would drop you
Correct.
from 5 feet.
The
across.
side of the court that faces 19 Dorchester, that will look like a U, because that'll be the entranceway into the court. So you'll have, if you're moving from our property in the back right through the left, you have the pool, you have the pool house, and then the access point.
The point is, you have to go from your main residency, no other way.
There's no other way.
Perfect, perfect.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, are there any other questions?
No.
Okay. Okay, we've referred the matter to the ZBA. They will deal with that next month, and hopefully we'll resolve the issue with the fence. We'll schedule this for a public hearing in August.
Yeah, because of the variance, we'll have to do it for August 13th.
Okay. Meeting in August.
Okay, I have a resolution for that.
Meeting in
Okay.
August. We usually don't have a meeting in
I'll be around.
I'll be around too. We gotta have a meeting in August. I get a credit if I'm here.
Just you and me, John, that's about it. Yeah. Okay.
Whereas application has been made for approval of a subdivision involving a lot consolidation, site plan, and steep slopes permit for the properties located at 19 and 23 Dorchester Drive. Now therefore be resolved, the planning board will hold a public hearing on August 13th, 2026 at 6:30 in Village Hall to consider the above referenced application. Be it further resolved that the applicant is hereby directed to comply with section 25040 of the Village Code regarding notification of the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Grzan,
Yes.
thank you.
I like
Show.
I is okay.
It was a yes, Mike.
Thank you. Mr. Teague.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Chairman Goodman.
Yes.
We know.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for the presentation.
Take care.
Move this along. Thank you. Any other issues? No?
No.
Okay. You have a motion and a second to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.